This conference will now be recorded.
Hello students, I'm Dr. Divya from TeenEinstein. So in chapter 14, ecosystem, this is part 2. We are going to discuss about ecosystem function. So we have already learned that what is an ecosystem. Ecosystem means that is the structural and functional unit of nature. And that will be having, or that consists of, that ecosystem consists of abiotic and biotic components. So the abiotic components, they are like air, water, soil, all this. They are the inorganic materials. So that consists of water, soil, air, all these are now considered as abiotic components. Then biotic components. What are biotic components? They are producers, consumers and decomposers. So producers, consumers and decomposers, those are called as, or those are coming under the category of biotic components. So in each ecosystem, it will be having particular, or that will be having a characteristic physical structure. So how that physical structure is formed? It is as a result of that interaction among the abiotic and biotic components. So it depends upon how that biotic and abiotic components are interacting. Based on that, the physical structure of that ecosystem is getting designed. So which are the two main features of an ecosystem? In last class, we have explained species composition and stratification. These are the two main structural features of an ecosystem. So based on the source of nutrition, all organisms, they occupy, or they will be having a place in an ecosystem. Based on the nutrition, or which nutrition they want, based on that they will find a position in the ecosystem, right? Those who are living in water, they are getting, or their life is in water, so they'll find a position in water. Or land plants, they'll be on land because they'll absorb, they'll get nutrients from that, right? Then productivity, decomposition, energy flow and nutrient cycling. These are the 4 components of ecosystem that we have already told in the last class. So here, now we are going to discuss about the ecosystem. So the ecosystem, it is having a natural tendency. It will be having a natural tendency to persist, right? Ecosystem is having a natural tendency to persist. So that persistence, it is ensured by different functions or different activities which are present or which are undertaken. Okay, so how an ecosystem is persisting? It depends upon the activities of that. Okay, or we can say in another way, like this is made possible by variety of functions, different functions. Based on that, the ecosystem, it is having a tendency to persist. So all these functions are performed by the structural components. Okay, the structural components, they are performing the functions. So the main or the key functional aspect of ecosystem, it is, or they are, which are the key functional aspect of ecosystem? Productivity. See, just think about the ecosystem that should have productivity, then decomposition, there should be an energy flow, then nutrient cycling. All these should be present in an ecosystem. See, any one is not there or any one is lacking in this. There is no energy flow means it won't. It is not a successful ecosystem, or it won't exist. If there is no productivity, whatever production is going on, that is already utilized and there is no new production or no productivity in that ecosystem, means their existence of other organism or which is depending upon all these, it is not possible. So which are all the main functional aspects of ecosystem? Productivity, decomposition, energy flow, then nutrient cycling. These are the functional aspects of ecosystem. Then we can say that just with an example, we can explain all this ecosystem. So a small pond, just consider a small pond as an example, and you know that it is a self-sustainable unit, a pond, right? We are not providing food or anything from external source. Everything, whatever they need, it is there in that pond. So that pond is a self-sustainable unit, and in this, all simple and complex reaction which are all going on in that, that is used to occur in the aquatic ecosystem. Got it? Whichever simple reactions or complex reaction, whichever is occurring in that aquatic ecosystem, that will be going on. It will be continuing as such, right? So just think about a small pond. So in that pond, all the four basic components, just now we told which are the four basic components of an ecosystem, like productivity, decomposition, energy flow, and nutrient cycling. Everything will be going on, or everything will be exhibited in a well-mannered way. We can see that, or we can understand. There is a productivity, decomposition, energy flow, and nutrient cycling. Okay, so how we can understand all these things? In the case of that pond, the abiotic component, which is that abiotic component, or which are all the abiotic component? The water we have already told, which are all the abiotic and biotic, which are all coming under that. So in the case of a pond ecosystem or aquatic ecosystem, that water with all the dissolved substances, like the organic and inorganic substances, will be present, right? So all the substances, the water and the dissolved substances. Then soil deposit will be there. That will be nutrient rich, that soil deposit. So that also. So water, then all the substances, dissolved substances, then the rich soil deposit at the bottom of that pond. These are considered as the abiotic substances. In the case of aquatic ecosystem, in that pond ecosystem, which are all the water, then dissolved substances like organic and inorganic substances, which are all dissolved in that. That is, then the soil, the rich soil deposit at the bottom of that pond. This is considered as biotic substances. And the rate of function of that complete pond, that is controlled by the cycle of temperature, then solar input and climatic condition. Isn't it? Don't get confused. The rate of function of that complete pond. The functioning of that complete pond, the rate of that activity, it is completely controlled by the cycle of temperature. It depends upon temperature. Then solar input, right? Their photosynthetic plants will be there. So solar input, that is very, very important. And the climatic condition. Climatic condition also matters. So which are the autotrophic components of that ecosystem? Phytoplanktons. Then the floating, submerged and marginal plants. Marginal plants which are present at the edges of that. Then algae will be present in that aquatic ecosystem. So all these are the autotrophic components of that ecosystem. Right? Then consumers. Which are the consumers? Consumers like zooplanktons, then the free swimming and bottom dwelling forms. All these are consumers. Then decomposers. Decomposers also will be present. They are fungi, bacteria and flagellates. That means flagellates which are present at the bottom of that pond. Those, they are considered as decomposers. Fungi, bacteria and all, they are considered as the decomposers. Then altogether, all these decomposers, then autotrophic components, all these together, they will function as an ecosystem. So here you can see productivity, decomposition, energy flow, then nutrient cycling. Everything will be present in that small ecosystem. That water, aquatic ecosystem, right? So here, a small pond, you can see what productivity, energy flow, decomposition, nutrient cycling, everything in a small aquatic ecosystem. So a small pond, you can see all these activities or all these functioning in a well-mannered way. So you can take it as an example for productivity, decomposition, energy flow and nutrient cycling. All these functions are going on. So ecosystem, how we can explain now? Ecosystem that is having a natural tendency to persist. So this is made possible by different functions or variety of functions like the functions which are performed by the structural components. So these components of the ecosystem, they are working as the units to persist that functioning, right? So which are the functional aspects? Productivity, decomposition, energy flow and nutrient cycling. Let's see one by one. Productivity. Productivity means the rate of biomass production. Okay. Productivity means how much that biomass is produced or that rate of biomass production. In which rate that biomass is getting produced. So that is called as productivity. So there are two types of productivity in an ecosystem. First is primary productivity and secondary productivity. So the rate of biomass production, that is called as productivity, and there are two types of productivity in an ecosystem. First one is primary productivity and second one is secondary productivity. And which are the most productive ecosystem? Which are the most productive ecosystem? They are coral reefs. Then tropical rainforest, then sugarcane field. These are considered as most productive ecosystem. Then which is the least productive ecosystem? Desert and deep sea. These are the least productive ecosystem. Okay, their productivity, rate of production, rate of biomass production is very less. But in coral reefs, tropical rainforest, sugarcane field and all, biomass production or the rate of biomass production is very high. So least productive ecosystem, deep sea and desert. While the most productive ecosystem is sugarcane field, coral reefs, tropical rainforest. Okay. Then let's see what is primary productivity. Productivity, it is of two types, primary productivity and secondary productivity. So what is primary productivity? The rate at which biomass or organic matter is produced by plants or producers. Plants, they are mainly considered as the producers. So during photosynthesis per unit area over a time period. Okay. What is primary productivity? The rate of biomass or the rate of organic matter which is produced by plants or the producers during photosynthesis per unit area over a time period. At a particular time period over unit area, how much biomass or the rate of biomass which is produced by the producers or the plants, that is called as primary productivity. Or how we can say that sunlight will be captured by the producers for the synthesis of organic compound which are rich in energy, that is called as photosynthesis. In 11th we have learned about photosynthesis, right? So here primary productivity means sunlight which is captured by the producers for the synthesis of organic compounds. How the organic compounds are synthesized? During photosynthesis. So through photosynthesis, organic compounds are synthesized or organic compounds are synthesized by the producers. How they will synthesize? With the help of sunlight. They will capture sunlight and they will synthesize organic compounds through which procedure, that is called as photosynthesis. Okay. Here, productivity, we can divide productivity into two, gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. Gross primary productivity or GPP and the other one is net primary productivity or NPP. So productivity we can divide into two, gross primary productivity and net primary productivity. Gross primary productivity or GPP and net primary productivity NPP. So what is gross primary productivity? Gross primary productivity means the rate of production or the rate of synthesis of that organic matter by the producer during that photosynthesis per unit area and unit time. At a particular time, at a particular area, the rate of production or the rate of production of the organic matter synthesized by the producers, that is called as gross productivity or GPP. So that energy capturing, solar energy capturing, that process that is done in the green tissues. So how we can say that? During respiration, this light capturing or the energy capturing tissues and the other tissues, all the tissues are consuming this photosynthetic product, right? So a considerable amount or a huge amount of that gross primary productivity that is utilized by all plants during respiration. So for respiration, most of the energy that is getting utilized in the case of plants, right? So during that energy capturing process that is done by the green tissues. But during respiration, the energy synthesized during the photosynthesis, it is consumed not only by the green tissues but on whole body of that producer, whole body of that producer, they are utilizing the or whole tissues, it is utilizing the energy which is synthesized during the photosynthesis. So there is a huge demand for that energy during respiration. Respiration is an energy consumption or energy consuming process. Which one? Respiration. So there is considerable amount of gross primary productivity or GPP. It is utilized by plants during which process? During respiration. Got it? Next, net primary productivity. Now we have discussed about gross primary productivity. Okay, so during respiration, considerable amount of GPP is utilized by the plants. In which process? In respiration. Then net primary productivity. What is that? Gross primary productivity minus respiratory loss. So here you can say that rate of organic matter buildup or rate of organic matter stored by the producers in excess of respiratory utilization per unit time and area. Okay. GPP, gross primary productivity minus respiratory losses. Okay. So that GPP, gross primary productivity, from that we are deducting the respiratory loss. Then we will get net primary productivity. So what is net primary productivity? We can say that as that rate of organic matter buildup or rate of organic matter stored by the producer in excess of respiratory utilization per unit area and time. So NPP is equal to GPP, gross primary productivity minus respiratory loss. That is the NPP, net primary productivity. So net primary productivity, that is the available biomass for the consumption of heterotrophs. So after, for respiratory process, that producer, that itself utilizing some part of that produced energy, right? So after that, whatever is remaining, that net primary productivity, that is only available for the consumption of heterotrophs. That means for decomposers and herbivores, for both these remaining net primary productivity only will be remaining. Clear? So here, glucose produced during photosynthesis, that is gross primary productivity with the help of sunlight and chloroplast. The producer, it is producing glucose or carbohydrate which is synthesized during photosynthesis. Then in the form of glucose only it can be utilized. So that carbohydrate which is present that is called as, or the glucose which is produced during that photosynthesis, that is called as gross primary production. Then from that, some glucose that will be used to supply energy to deliver cellular processes, that is called respiration. That is called as respiration. What is that? Glucose which is used to drive cellular process. So that is respiration. Then the remaining glucose which is available to do all other things, like which can be utilized by heterotrophs, that is called as net primary productivity or NPP. So here net primary productivity, that is gross primary productivity minus respiratory losses or R. So here we can say that the rate of organic matter built up or which is stored by the producer, that in excess of respiratory utilization per unit time and area, that is called as net primary productivity, NPP, that is equal to GPP, gross primary productivity minus R. R is the respiratory losses. Okay, so net primary productivity, that is the available biomass for the consumption to heterotrophs, herbivores and decomposers. These both herbivores and decomposers will get only this net primary productivity. That means the biomass for the consumption which is available, biomass which is available for the consumption of heterotrophs. Then there are some factors which is affecting the primary productivity. Which and all the factors which is affecting the primary productivity. So there are some biotic and abiotic factors that affect the magnitude of primary productivity. So which are those factors? Temperature, photosynthetic capacity of producer. What do you mean by photosynthetic capacity of producer? That means the producer which can utilize that solar energy or solar radiation and that can which can raise maximum primary productivity, which can make gross primary productivity, that is called as photosynthetic capacity of producer. So the factors, the primary productivity, it is affected by different factors. That producer, it is having good photosynthetic capacity, or it is having the capacity to produce the food through photosynthesis in a proper way, means it can produce a maximum, that is called as photosynthetic capacity of producer. That means that producer that will be having the capacity, or that will be having the ability to utilize that solar light, or that will be able to capture the solar light in a maximum possible way. So they will form, or they will raise maximum productivity. Then solar radiations available. If the solar radiations are available or not. Then temperature. Temperature is another factor which is affecting the primary productivity. Then soil moisture. Moisture condition of the soil, or the percentage of soil moisture, that also affect the primary productivity. Then availability of nutrients. Nutrient availability is also a factor which is affecting the primary productivity. Then here, productivity of biosphere. Net primary productivity, the annual net primary productivity of whole biosphere. The annual net primary productivity of whole biosphere, that is around 170 billion tons of that organic matter. Okay. So the net primary productivity of the whole biosphere is around 170 billion tons of that organic matter. Then in this 170 billion tons, 70% is occupying the surface. Then ocean, productivity from that ocean, or ocean, they are giving only 55 billion tons, and terrestrial ecosystem, that is 115 billion tons. Okay. In ocean, why what is the reason for that low productivity in ocean? So in deep sea or in deep marine in that habitat, some limiting factors are there in deep sea. You know that. What are all the factors? Light and nutrients. So light availability will be less when it is going to depth. Right? So when it is going to depth, that light availability will be less. The nutrients. The limiting nutrient, the nitrogen availability in that marine ecosystem and all will be very limiting. So that is the reason for low productivity in ocean. So in deep habitat or deep marine habitat, the main limiting factors are light and nutrients. So we have told about net primary productivity. Now what is secondary productivity? Secondary productivity means the rate of formation of new organic matter by consumers. Rate of formation of new organic matter by consumers. So secondary productivity means rate of formation of new organic matter by the consumers. That is called as secondary productivity. Then community productivity. What is community productivity? Rate of net synthesis and buildup of organic matter by a community per unit area and unit time. Okay. Rate of net synthesis, the total synthesis and buildup of organic matter by a community per unit time and unit area. Then ecological efficiency. See, from all this you may get 1 mark question or MCQ. All these terms are important. Just like definition, you should learn. So ecological efficiency or trophic level efficiency. Ecological efficiency or trophic level efficiency. So what is that? The percentage of energy which is converted into biomass by a higher trophic level. So by a higher trophic level, the percentage of energy converted into biomass over the energy of food resources available at the lower trophic level. That is called as ecological efficiency. What is ecological efficiency? See, at lower trophic level, the food resources are available. Based on the availability of that higher trophic level organism, they will convert that into energy. So the percentage of energy converted into biomass by a higher trophic level over the energy of food resources which are available at the lower trophic level. Okay, that is called as ecological efficiency. That shows the efficiency of that ecosystem. So ecological efficiency, that is equal to energy converted into biomass at a trophic level divided by energy present in biomass at lower trophic level into 100. Next, you can learn about decomposition. Okay, decomposition. What is that decomposition? Decomposition means productivity means what? That is the synthesis and building process, right? So decomposition is also have equal importance like productivity. So decomposition means the breakdown of organic matter. The organic matter will be in a complex form. The breakdown of that organic matter, which is in a complex form, to inorganic raw material. It will get divided into carbon dioxide, water, and other nutrients by decomposers. So decomposition is also very important. That means decomposition means the breakdown of complex organic matter to inorganic raw materials like carbon dioxide and water and the other nutrients with the help of decomposers. So which is a major site of decomposition? That is the upper layer of soil. And in water bodies, where it will be? The bottom of water bodies. In soil, it will be the upper layer, and in water bodies, it will be at the bottom of water bodies. And we know that the dead remains like flowers, leaves, and all those things like or dead matter of animals or the fecal material. These and all constitute detritus, and that is the raw material for decomposition. Detritus is the raw material for decomposition. So productivity means what? That is the synthesizing process or the building process. But the decomposition is equally important like productivity. What is decomposition? The breakdown of complex organic matter to inorganic raw materials. Inorganic raw materials like water and carbon dioxide, and then the other nutrients also. With the help of decomposers, decomposition is going on. important steps in decomposition. They are fragmentation, of detritus, then leaching, catabolism, humidification and mineralization. So there are main steps: fragmentation of detritus, fragmentation, leaching and catabolism. So in fragmentation of detritus, detrivores, which are the small invertebrate animals, detrivores, they will feed on that detritus. For example, we can say that termite, earthworms and all. So they are bringing out the fragmentation process. So part of that detritus that is getting eaten by or it is eaten by detrivores, which is coming out of that. Then next is leaching. What is leaching? It is the leaching means the part of that water soluble substances which are present in the fragmented and decomposing detritus. Then catabolism. Next is catabolism. So this catabolism that is carried out by saprotrophic bacteria and fungi. So catabolism is carried out by saprotrophic bacteria and fungi. So these bacteria and fungi and all, what they will do, they will secrete digestive enzyme over that detritus. Okay, over the detritus they will spread or they will secrete that digestive enzyme. So this enzyme, they will change the complex organic compound into simple compounds. Then inorganic substances. These inorganic substances which are released in that process, they will act as nature's scavengers. So that rate of the catabolism or the rate of the catabolic action or the breakdown of the different complex substances, that will be different. So that decomposition of two substances, humus and inorganic nutrients, that is called as humidification and mineralization. Humidification and mineralization. What is that? The rate of catabolic action or the rate of breakdown of different complex substance, that is called as. So that decomposition will give rise to two substances, which are the humus and inorganic nutrients. Humus and inorganic nutrients. So that process in which humus is getting produced, humus and inorganic nutrients are getting produced, that is called as humification and mineralization. So let's see what is humification. What is humification? Humification means to form that humus, the detritus, it is getting decomposed. So the process of decomposition of detritus to form the detritus, to form what? To form the humus, that is called as humification. So this humus, that is the dark colored one, that is the decomposed organic matter, and that will be rich in cellulose, lignin, tannin, resin and all. And this humus, it is very highly resistant to the microbial action. Humus is highly resistant to microbial action and in a very slow rate, an extremely slow rate, this will undergo decomposition. And humus, we know that it is slightly acidic. This humus is slightly acidic. What is the nature of that humus? It is slightly acidic and it is in a colloidal form, and that functions as reservoir of nutrients. So humus, it is having acidic character and colloidal nature, that will function as reservoir of nutrients. And next type is mineralization. What is mineralization? The release of organic substances. From where? From this organic matter or humus. During that decomposition process, release of or releasing of inorganic substances from the organic matter or humus. During which process? During the process of decomposition. Then factors. There are some factors which are affecting this decomposition. Which are those factors which is affecting the decomposition? Decomposition of this detritus, that is controlled by chemicals or chemical nature of the detritus, and that there are so many climatic factors which are affecting the decomposition of detritus. First one is the chemical nature of detritus. The detritus decomposition, it will be very slow if it is containing lignin, chitin, tannin and cellulose. Lignin, chitin, tannin and cellulose, all these are present, means the detritus is having or that is containing lignin, chitin, tannin and cellulose. These are present, means the decomposition of the detritus will be slow. It will become rapid. When it will become rapid? If the detritus possesses more nitrogen compounds like protein, nucleic acid and all present more, means that detritus, that will be, if that is having more nucleic acid or more protein, like nitrogen compounds are more, means the decomposition of detritus will be fast. Then another factor which is affecting the decomposition. Temperature. More than 25 degrees centigrade means the decomposers are very active in soil and they have good moisture and aeration. So in this humid tropical regions, for the composition of or the decomposition of the detritus, they should not take or they won't take more than 3 to 4 months. So under low temperature condition, that is below 10 degree, so soil, the rate of decomposition is very slow. The rate of decomposition is very slow. Even the aeration and moisture, everything is optimum. Then also the decomposition will be very slow. Then another factor which is affecting decomposition is moisture. For quicker decomposition, optimum moisture is okay. The rate of that decomposition that will get reduced if there is a reduction in the moisture. Then we know that the temperature and soil moisture both are very important climatic factors and they can regulate or they can control the decomposition. So these are the factors which are affecting decomposition. Which are the factors? Chemical nature of detritus, then temperature, moisture, then temperature and soil moisture. They are very important climatic factors which is regulating the decomposition through their effects on that microbes which are present in the soil. Decomposition is happening with the help of microbes, right? Which is present in the soil. So climatic conditions, then soil nature, everything matters a lot for the growth of the decomposers. Then aeration. Aeration means that required for that long activity of decomposers and detritivores. So reduced aeration will show or reduced aeration that will slow down the process of decomposition. That need maximum aeration. Decomposition need maximum aeration. Otherwise, the decomposition process will get slowed down. So from all these, we can understand that warm environment and moist environment, that is favoring the decomposition, but the low temperature and anaerobiosis both are inhibiting low temperature and anaerobiosis both are inhibiting the decomposition which is important. Which are the temperature and moisture, chemical nature, then aeration. All these matters. These are the factors which are affecting decomposition. Okay, so these are the main factors which are affecting the decomposition. So hope you got an idea about this. So today we have learned about the factors which are affecting factors or features which are affecting the productivity or the functioning of the ecosystem. Productivity, decomposition, energy flow and nutrient cycling. In that we learned about productivity, then decomposition. and the factors which are affecting decomposition. Chemical nature of the detritus, then temperature, moisture and aeration. These are the factors which are affecting decomposition. If temperature is high or more than a limit, more than 25 degrees centigrade, that above that means decomposers or the microbes will be very active and they will complete the decomposition. Then moisture content also. Optimum moisture, that is helping in the quicker decomposition process. Then aeration. Aeration is also required for the activity of decomposers. Then chemical nature. Chemical nature of the detritus. That means if it is having lignin, chitin, tannin, then cellulose and all, then the decomposition process will be slow. If the detritus is having more nitrogen compounds means the decomposition rate will be high. Okay, so these and all we have learned today. Go through that. If you have any doubt, you can ask me in the next class. Thank you.